Rakai versus iShowSpeed.
Whoa, hold on. Who was worse? I'm about to say, damn, they in a war?
Worse. I've seen a lot of people making tweets about who was worse at the peak or close to the peak of their tree.
Damn,
So I thought
you see this shirt, bro? I ain't seen Yu-Gi-Oh in forever. Yu-Gi-Oh was my shit when I was growing up.
I just make a video comparing the two and discussing it. And before we get into it, make sure you join the Discord. Let me know if you like videos like this in the future. Let's get into it. Now we're just gonna start off with Rakai because compared to Speed, bro, I'm gonna be honest, it's not really too much to talk about. Like when it comes to his controversies, he's still kind of building his lure up, but yeah, bruh, it's already an insane list. First, we got the multiple Twitch bans for various reasons, like shoplifting when he gave the girl the flowers or whatever,
right?
And apparently he didn't pay for them. The one time he got banned for leaking LaMelo Ball and somebody else's number on stream. And then you got the physical altercations that he had at Stream University, which included him shooting Orbeez at another streamer and hitting them in the eye.
No,
and they require medical attention. And there's so many reasons for his bans. I think he has one more ban left and he's out of there.
I think Rakai one thing about Rakai I learned, bro, is he out of touch with reality. This nigga here, he can't differentiate streaming, acting, getting it to like real life, because he just be tweeting.
Twitch, bro. So he been kind of chilling a little bit lately when it comes to certain things. And then you have another reason I think he got banned, which was reckless texting and looking at the chat while driving. And nigga almost crashed the car, bro, looking at a chat while streaming. I shouldn't have to tell y'all how irresponsible that is. And how could we forget when Kai Cenat came out and spoke on mental health? He decided to make it a whole joke, just mocking it in general. Just very immature, bro. And I think a little bit after this, when he was streaming with DDG and Deshae Frost, he was laughing at a homeless man who was eating by himself on stream. And that obviously was seen as insensitive and disrespectful. But I can say the funniest thing that came out of that clip, and everybody's not gonna take this as a joke, but when he was talking about compared to streaming, how hard a 9 to 5 is compared to it, when he was saying that all you gotta do is put the fries in a bag, and streaming is just much harder because, you know, it's something that you got to maintain. Like, of course it was funny the way he said it, but like it just was super out of touch, because with streaming, all you got to do is sit in front of a screen, come up with ideas to, you know, do shit with your chat. You could play a game.
Exactly, though. That's the difference. It's not the fact that first of all, you have to blow up as a streamer. In order to blow up, you have to, the difference between, I think what he was trying to say was, listen, y'all, YouTube and Meta might owe you up to $1,000 if you or your child grew up on social media. If you or your child spent years growing up on social media and experienced serious mental health issues, you should hear this. Recently, a jury just ordered Meta and YouTube to pay millions for their role in designing and promoting addictive platforms. They know that their apps can cause anxiety, depression, or body image issues. But they never shared those risks with us. They never made us sign anything that we knew the risk. They just maximized their profits. And the recent historic verdict underscores the consequences of those decisions. But you better not worry. Morgan & Morgan is stepping up to hold these platforms accountable for the harm that they have caused. Click the link in my bio to take a very short questionnaire quiz, because you might be entitled to a potential recovery of over $1,000. If you have a job, the reason why most people can't be a streamer or an entrepreneur is because of two things. Number one, most people can't hold themselves accountable. So if you have to get up and record from 9 to 5, it's harder for you to do that by yourself with no manager, no supervisor, nobody above you being like, nah, hey, get this done, do this, do that. You see what I'm saying? That's a lot harder than going to work and be like, hey, at 2 o'clock, we got a meeting, put the fries in the bag. Yeah, keep doing that. You got lunch at 12. Like, when you work a job, you have somebody else telling you what to do. When you have your own company, your own business, your own thing going on, this depends on you, how hard you work. You see what I'm saying? You could, if you have a job, you can work super hard. You could work a little bit. You're going to get the same dollars per hour. But business is different. So I get what he was trying to say.
You can literally do anything and be a successful streamer, bro. I'm gonna be honest, gang. You just gotta have charisma and luck. You feel me? But
you just gotta have charisma, and so that's all you think it takes to be a streamer is charisma and luck? Boy, y'all niggas is confused out here, boy. This is a real business, bro. You gotta have, especially the way I do it, you have to have employees. you'd have to understand budgeting, you have to understand marketing, you have to understand advertising, you have to understand brand awareness, you have to understand inventory. You have to understand a lot of shit in business. You can't just be charismatic and get lucky. If that's the case, why everybody ain't a successful streamer then? If that's the case.
A 9 to 5, bro, like, yeah, you gotta just work and put the fries in the bag, but certain 9 to 5s is not the same. Then you have the calling the women out their name, whether it's him trying to be intentionally disrespectful or for the sake of a clip. It's a lot of examples like the Yana clip, the QT Cinderella clip, and recently he was super disrespectful to Mari. You know what's bad when India Love of all people is calling you a bad influence on the youth. Next is the Mr. Beast game situation involving Mari, who I just spoke on. This reason why he was disrespectful towards her. And another streamer named El Rubius that everybody has covered up and down, so I'm not gonna like go into complete detail, bro. It's gonna make the video way longer. He basically refused to leave after getting eliminated, got upset, and it took security to remove him. And this next one is something that you know I don't agree with when it comes to these streaming niggas, bro, how they act. And it's the zesty stuff that they be doing on stream, bro.
I don't like
Rakai's version of that was just to dress up as a woman. And
I think this might be a humiliation ritual. I'm gonna be honest with you. I think the acting sus, acting zesty, all that, I think that's like a ritual to humiliate yourself. Like, that's the type of shit I don't fuck with. If you just get on the internet to embarrass yourself for clips and views, I think that's lame. I think that's not the vibe. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's not it, twin. I'm gonna be honest with you. Like, feel me? But
this in front of young, impressionable viewers, bro. Not to mention the homosexual innuendos he oftentimes masters jokes. And compared to Speed, I think him and Speed are very alike in this category. Because I've seen Speed do some wildly sus things, bro. One thing that stands out about Rakai is that he's more of himself than a character. What makes him relatable to the youth of today is the habit of him saying what he feels unapologetically, even if it lands him in hot water. That's what makes his influence very dangerous. And you can see the negative aura he emits from how people act around him, even his own audience. If they see him crash out and start fights for content, they're gonna crash out and start fights for the sake of content. And the funny thing is, Rakai knows what he's doing is wrong, but he doesn't care most of the time because of his status. His spot is already secured in the streaming world, and if all else fails, he could just go on a redemption arc for views. But that also makes people like myself say that he shouldn't get the he's only 17 or 18 excuse. And only time will tell if he ever matures like iShowSpeed has. At first, Rakai seemed like another Kai Cenat in the making, just based on his name, of course, and as time went on, it seems like he wanted to break out of that mold and make a name for himself. The hate for Rakai has reached the highest levels it's ever been, and honestly, I think he will make it a little bit higher based on something else he'll do in the future, because the way this nigga is moving right now, bro, he don't care, bro. And it's crazy with all this I just took like 10-15 minutes going through, bro. Rakai still has brand deals like Under Armour, so it's still hope for him as long as he doesn't nuke his whole career. And honestly, some of these companies do not care as long as you don't mess with the people above and you know, don't go against certain groups.
Most companies don't get no fuck. You think they care that you humiliating yourself? As long as them views coming in, they feel like, nigga, we hand this nigga a shoe, pay his ass a few $100,000, let's make some money off his dumb ass. They don't care. They don't care. That's why it's like the cheap way. Embarrassing yourself and doing that humiliation ritual bullshit, that's like the cheap way to get some views and some clout and some, you know what I'm saying?
But I'm saying, as long as you're making them money and you don't go against them, bro, they don't care who you are on stream and what you say, whatever, depending on the brand. I'm gonna be honest, but majority of the time, they don't give a fuck. Now, compared to Rakai, iShowSpeed's lore, as far as his controversies go and how bad he was at his peak, it's literally a book. Starting with the Ash Cash situation, you know, when he was talking about who's gonna stop me from 2021 during this E-date that he was on. That's obviously Speed's most infamous clip for good reason, and I can't even show that on here. This got him banned on Twitch for about 2 years, and many people thought this would have hurt his PR forever. It was that bad, to the point where a lot of Speed fans don't even want to mention that nowadays. Then we got the zesty, sus things that he would do and the influence that he had on the youth, like the bounce that ass trend, when he had little ass kids doing that dance and other sus stuff that I don't even want to like try to describe because I don't want to get demonetized. But they were doing it just because Speed was doing it on music videos.
I'm gonna be honest though, like, see, it's always gonna be negative influences. I don't really blame Speed. I mean, he has some responsibility, but a lot of responsibility comes from the parents. Like, I wouldn't let my kid watch Speed. Why would I let you watch some other young dumb motherfucker who just doing whatever he want to do? and you get influenced by this shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? I wouldn't let my kid watch Speed or no streamer until they get old enough, like till they get 13, 14, 15, and they still might be influenced by some stupid shit, but I want to be the influence on my kids. That's why I make sure I'm gonna make sure I'm my best version of myself for my kids so that they can look at their mom and their dad like I'm gonna be like that. Not I gotta look at some dumb motherfucker on Instagram or YouTube or Twitch doing this dumb sus zesty shit, and I feel like I gotta go do that. No, and by the time my kids do start watching people like Speed or whoever is gonna be, you know, the new star when they get older, they gonna already know like this is entertainment. You know what I'm saying? I had to explain that to my little cousin before, like, bro, this is entertainment. No, that just because you see something on YouTube doesn't mean it's real. You know what I'm saying? And then you had these kids really scared of spiders because you seen on YouTube, you seen a spider go from small to super huge. So you think that's really what's going to happen. No, it's not. It's entertainment. You have to explain that to kids, though. Parents don't do that. Most parents just give a kid their phone, give a kid their iPad, get the fuck out of my face, gone. They don't want to be parents
on stream or whatever. And he even told a kid to do this on stream. Bro, his PR team is unmatched. Like, them niggas is like Johnny Cochran, because how the hell did he get away with this shit? And there's so many other sus clips like every streamer has, so it's really nothing to see here, but he was talked about at that time as a bad influence for the new generation of streamers and kids, which actually turned out to be true in a way. Then you got the fireworks in the room, which is pretty tame compared to the controversies that I'm going to talk about. You feel what I'm saying? Like, he just set a bad example for kids around 4th of July on what not to do with fireworks. Around this time, Speed was just doing anything like to stand out, even if it put his own family at risk. The fire department had to get involved too, and it was a very reckless decision. Next, you got the Valorant situation, and bro, this was actually wild at the time. Just super edgy. I could see why people were outraged. Speed made some very aggressive and misogynistic comments to a female teammate on Valorant, and this led him to be banned by Riot Games and on Twitch for a bit, which is understandable. Speed would also get banned from Sky Sports TV and have several posts of him removed from their program. Now, how bad it is that a company that supported a streamer that was supporting the sport of football, international football, I'm not talking about American football, he was one of the biggest like influences online. At the time, he was growing really fast, and they just completely took him off of their platform. They just wanted nothing to do with him just because of something that he said online, bro. Like, this nigga was wilding. I'm not gonna really say this is really a controversy, but I feel like he just did this shit for views, and a lot of people kind of like criticizing that shit. Like, come on, gang, like, you did that shit, and you have like kids watching you. And it's the iShowSpeed thing where he quote unquote accidentally showed his meat on stream for clicks. It's really nothing more to speak on his here. It's just, gang, like, what were you thinking? He kind of saved his PR with that when he had his dad make a music video, a song about it, and stuff like that. But that's kind of crazy that you have all these kids that watch you and you doing that, man. And we have the crypto pump and dump with the fake Ronaldo. No. This was like at the peak of when cryptocurrency and rug pulls and stuff was going on in the crypto space. It's not that bad of a situation compared to the others that I talked about, but it's still scummy to promote cryptocurrency to a young, impressionable audience. It's in the same boat as those gambling streamers, and he used the name and likeness of one of the most famous athletes in the world to promote it, so I could see why people were outraged. But overall, not a bad situation. Now, this next one kind of hits close to home because I got affected by this too, and it was when he was copyright striking smaller creators for using something as small as background footage of him in their videos. Even reaction YouTubers weren't safe. It was this company that he had hired to go around and copyright strike and claim videos that had his clips in there and different footage from his YouTube channel, and it definitely affected a lot of people's money and livelihood because a lot of the videos were under fair use. And as a creator, I get wanting to have the most control over your content, but the problem people had is him striking channels that had transformed the content into commentary videos or documentaries, which what I said earlier falls under fair use. It got so bad that I had to use still images of iShowSpeed.
That's crazy.
And I probably will most of this video. It's crazy that Speed went from being banned from international TV programs to having a match at WrestleMania. I believe Speed is more of a character than a lot of his controversies would show, versus this being the real him. It's not really that convincing to me. Just based on how I heard stories about him, how he acts off stream, like, this is not him, you feel me? His iShowSpeed persona is not Darren Watkins. I feel like he did things more for clicks than anything. Rakai is the same in that regard because, I mean, every streamer clip farms, but Speed is the opposite of Rakai when it comes to being aware of how things will play out. The only reason I say this is because Rakai has a lot of examples before him as far as what to do and what not to do.
That's why Rakai is a little bit worse, because Rakai has Kai Cenat. He has older people. He has, like, you know what I'm saying? When Speed was first coming out, he was a pioneer for streaming. You know what I'm saying? So he had to go through a lot of mistakes that most people didn't have to go through. You know what I'm saying? Because they already, people made them mistakes for him. You see what I'm saying?
If you want to last long in the space or even be brand friendly. Yet Rakai still chooses to be toxic. Speed will say things or do things impulsively versus Rakai oftentimes doing things with intention to hurt feelings
on purpose,
or make a point. What makes this comparison kind of laughable is that you have people on the internet nowadays persecuting Rakai like he's the spawn of Satan or Cell Jr. or some shit. Like Speed just wasn't much worse at his peak, but he's grown from it. I do agree with people criticizing Rakai because 9 times out of 10, it's deserved, and his age should not give him a pass at all. But let's not act like he's irredeemable. Speed has much more influence than Rakai, so his controversies were magnified. Speed was the first of his kind, and many other acts that followed are like different variants of him, so it was only a matter of time before history repeated itself. But let me know what you guys think about this in the comments. I don't think it's close at all. Let me know if you guys enjoy videos like.
Do you think so? I don't know. I don't know what he's saying. Is he saying that Rakai was worse or Speed? I think they was both bad for, like, as far as like influence on kids and shit. But at the same time, I don't think that we shouldn't put the burden of influencing kids on another fucking kid. You feel me? Like, that's all I'm gonna say. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, of course, nigga, if I was a big YouTuber when I was 18, do you know the dumb shit that I would have said and did? I was 18 and I was mature for my age, but I was still stupid. I'm dumb right now. 27. By the time I turn 30, nigga, I'm gonna look back and be like, wow, you were dumb. Look at the shit. It was gonna be a lot of shit that I was saying in my old videos. Even to this day, you can go back 4 years ago. You know what I'm saying? When I'm 23 and see videos that I was saying, I'm like, boy, that was stupid as hell. Look at this dumb motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? But it's just like, it's just growth. I don't feel like kids should be responsible for their influence on other kids. Like, that's the parents' job. You know what I'm saying? It's not the parents' job to fucking, you know? Like, it's not the kid's job to be an influence on other kids. Like, they're kids. They're dumbass kids. You shouldn't look up. Nobody should be looking up to no other dumbass kid to do what they want to do. You should look up to a grown motherfucker. You feel me? But if, as a parent, your influence should be stronger than the people that they watch on stream. Period. You know what I'm saying? In my life, my parents was more of an influence to me than what I saw on Disney Channel. You know, but I didn't come up around streamers. Like, it wasn't no, like, the first YouTuber I remember really watching as like an in real life streamer, like vlogging and shit, was DDG. But I was watching him in high school. Like, I was already like a junior, senior in high school, sophomore in high school by the time I started watching DDG. You feel me? Other than that, we didn't have no, you know, kids too much like how these kids got nowadays. Rakai, Cenat, all these streamers and shit. We didn't have streamers, nigga. We had YouTubers for sure, but I was also older. Like, when I was a kid, nigga, bro. Like, when I was in seventh grade when Instagram came out, bro. Like, think about that. I was already 13, 14 years old when I was already 12, 13 when Instagram came out. I remember when it came out and blew up. I remember when Snapchat came out. Like, when it wasn't no Snapchat story, it was just taking pictures and sending to each other and shit. You feel me? And a lot of niggas in my school used to get the girls to send them nudes through Snapchat because you couldn't screenshot. You know what I'm saying? Like, I remember when that shit came out. These kids growing up different. So, as parents, it's your job to be an influence. It's your job to monitor what your kids watch. It's your job to put restrictions on their iPhone and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? That ain't nobody else's job. I'm not gonna blame Rakai and Speed for being a negative influence on kids when they young kids, they damn self, bro. Like, Speed was like, what, 16, 15, 16 years old doing this shit? So I'm gonna put the responsibility of this 16-year-old on other kids. Like, no, he what the fuck? He like, who, what the fuck do I look like leading some kids at 16 years old? That's why you're not supposed to have babies until you older, till you grown. You're not supposed to be 15 years old having kids because you young, you a damn kid yourself. Do your homework on yourself, man.